let's rank the teams in the NFC West from 4 to 1.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Again, the fourth is tough. The fourth is tough. You know what, Iggy? I'm going to put Arizona fourth.
Yeah. Yeah.
May I tell you why?
Please.
I think Arizona has a really good coach.
Mhm.
I'm not sold on Kyler Murray, and they always seem to be rebuilding Arizona.
Yeah. It's true. I'm gonna go with Seattle, although there's a lot of people that feel that Seattle's gonna be really good this year. They've been 9-8 the last 2 years with probably pretty poor coaching. Now they have this new coach who came from the Ravens, who is sort of a trendsetter on defense and the stuff he's doing in terms of blitzes and stuff. But I don't believe in Geno at all. There's something timid about him. He's not I mean, he's efficient, but I don't know. He kind of reminds me of like a worse version of Alex Smith. He's just not as good as he should be. And Kyler is dangerous. Right? I know they were 4-13 last year, but it seemed like they finished the season kind of strong, and they drafted Marvin Harrison's kid, Marvin Harrison Jr., who's supposed to be the highest rated wide receiver to come out in a long time. So if he's good, they had I just think they're going to be more dangerous. I think they're going to be interesting. Yeah. I like Arizona.
So you'd put Seattle third?
I put Seattle fourth and Arizona third. But I admit that I'm in the minority on that one.
And I would put Arizona fourth and Seattle third. I mean,
Fair enough.
we're pretty close, right? We're pretty close.
Yeah.
Let's make a case for Seattle improving.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's say Geno Smith actually is a fairly good quarterback. The only reason he had a down year last year is because his offensive line was banged up. The coaching staff just improved because it couldn't have gotten worse, and now it's up to date. They were 9-8 the last 2 years, despite having bad coaches. That's a team that could easily win 10 or 11 games this year. How about that?
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you think Arizona is a team that could easily win 10 or 11 games?
I don't know about easily, but if they have a quarterback, let's say Kyler Murray grows up, puts it all together, and is the best version of himself, and he has a number one wide receiver, it's a dangerous team. It's a really dangerous team. Because right now, then they have a much better quarterback than Seattle. And Seattle that's the limit of whatever you can do on a team. You could have everything, but you still got Geno, and that's going to limit you at some point.
Before we move ahead, I would like to point out that we respect both Arizona and Seattle. We're not saying that they stink. The NFC West is coming back as a good division.
Yeah, both of those teams have young, forward-thinking, energetic defensive coaches who have done a good job against Kyle Shanahan in particular in the past. Like Jonathan Gannon was the defensive coordinator for the Eagles in the NFC Championship game when they knocked out Brock. And Mike McDonald was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens on Christmas when they intercepted Brock 4 times. So that's a big reason why those two are in the jobs they're in right now.
Because they've done well against Brock.
Correct. And Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2 team. Number 2 team. I'm going
to go with the Rams. I'm going to put the Niners in first place here. The Rams lost Aaron Donald. He retired, although he hasn't been that great the last couple of years. They still have Matthew Stafford. Their offensive line is always good. Puka Nacua emerged last year as a rookie as a all-pro wide receiver. They still have Cooper Kupp, though he gets hurt a lot and he's a bit older. And they have a running back, Kyron Williams. So it's a really serious team.
It is a really serious team, and it's coming along.
Yeah, I mean, they were really hot at the end of the season. They put it all together. They were tough to beat. They finally got eliminated by the Lions. I think they lost by 3. And then the Lions lost to the Niners by 3. So those 3 teams are all kind of close together. And they have the best quarterback.
Why do you put the Niners ahead? By the way, I agree with you. Why do you put the Niners number 1 over the Rams?
The Niners have a better defense than the Rams, I believe. And the one thing the Niners have that other teams can't really match is a really quality tight end. I mean, the Rams have a good running back and good wide receivers, but they don't have a tight end that they can go to like the Niners do. So I think the Niners are a little bit more talented on offense, better defense. But the Rams have great wide receivers, and they have the best quarterback in the division, which makes them always dangerous.
How about offensive line, Rams?
They actually invest in their guard. They signed a really good guard this year, took them away from the Lions. The Niners don't do things like that. So I would say the Rams have a better offensive line than the Niners. Niners have Trent Williams, but the Rams have players at other positions who are good.
Do you think the Niners will go? How many games they play? Six games against the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll go 6-0 against a division?
No, I think they'll split with the Rams, and I think they'll split with the Cardinals. 4-2. They could go. They could split with the Seahawks too. I have the Niners going 11-6 this year, which may not be enough to get it done. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
It's going to be an interesting division. The Seahawks could win 11 games. The Rams could win 11 games. And Niners could win 11 games. Cardinals are a dark horse. Could be better than last year.
I love the division. I wish the football season was starting soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching a lot of Giants games. I have to admit, I got back to them. You know, I'm a baseball fan, but I miss football very much. Iggy, I got another question. Since we're doing, it's this now, we're ranking, and ranking is fun. Let's rank the coaches, the head coaches in the NFC West, bottom to top. I'd like, you're better at this than I am, so I'd like you to do it. Start it out.
Okay. I guess you'd have to rank the Seattle Seahawks head coach, Mike Macdonald, 4 because he hasn't actually coached a game yet. He's a rookie. But he was the defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. He was the defensive coordinator for John Harbaugh with the Ravens. And it seems like everyone wants to do the things that he's, I don't know if pioneered is fair to say, but he's quite intriguing. But I put him at number 4 right now.
Number 4 with an asterisk, quite intriguing, and he might really be dynamite.
I think it's interesting that Pete Carroll got stale in Seattle, and they had to get rid of him and bring in a Harbaugh disciple to carry the baton in Seattle. I mean, Harbaugh and Carroll were like big-time rivals, and now that's like a Harbaugh offshoot in Seattle.
Really thumbing their nose at Pete.
Thanks for everything.
Right.
Yeah, you're outdated now, buddy. Harbaugh won the battle, the war.
Harbaugh's a very good coach. And, the Chargers are going to be, we haven't talked about it. They're going to be, there's not going to be a learning period. They're going to be a really good team this season, Iggy.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Harbaugh, so let's rank the coaches real quick in the AFC West and we'll come back to the NFC West. Obviously, Andy Reid, number 1. Antonio Pierce got to be number 4 since he hasn't done it yet. But then you got Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, Harbaugh over Payton. I
agree.
Payton may be past the sell-by date, too.
You know what Payton might be at this point? A verschnunkene coach.
That's Yiddish for he stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget Payton. He was good at it. He had a time. But, yeah, you have to put Andy first. And I think Harbaugh probably knows that, and it probably burns Jim Harbaugh up because he always thinks he's the best.
At the same time, he probably likes being in the division, knowing Harbaugh. Like, I get a chance to show I'm better than Andy Reid. This is going to be great.
Right. He's
just like he did with Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
He probably thinks he's tougher than Andy Reid, and that Andy Reid. I can't wait to see how Harbaugh frames it. We'll see what he does. Anyway, back to the NFC West. 4, Macdonald. 3, probably Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals. He's done 1 year. He won 4 games, so he hasn't accomplished a whole lot yet. But still, that team played so much harder than it did with Cliff Kingsbury, and it seems like they're on the right track.
I agree. So what we have at 4 and 3 are fairly unknown or completely unknown, but with a great deal of promise. And each organization, we think, was shrewd to get that head coach. Shrewd.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, they were hired partially because of the work they did against Kyle Shanahan, which is a big compliment to Kyle Shanahan.
Now, number 2 is tough.
It's not that tough.
Okay, why don't you do it?
Number 2 is Kyle Shanahan.
Whoa.
See, you could say it. It's fair. It's the
Okay.
truth.
Let me try to make a case. First of all, I'm not entirely convinced, but number 2 is Shanahan because he hasn't won a Super Bowl,
Mhm.
and the other guy did.
Mhm.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Both have
Simple as
been to
that.
2 Super Bowls as head coaches. One won 1, one lost 2.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Mhm. You know, one guy got Stafford, the other guy didn't. One guy sealed the deal when he was there, the other guy didn't. Um, when McVay lost the Super Bowl, he made big changes to his team, got back and won it. Is McVay a great coach? I don't know about that. He's kind of a rah-rah BSer a lot of the time,
Oh,
but
he's a BS artist.
he's a
Yeah.
big BSer. But still, like, he has an energy that Kyle Shanahan just doesn't have. He's upbeat. I think players like that. Like, Kyle's just so he can't provide that, and he always needs a defensive coordinator to do it for him.
So I think a translation of what you're saying is Sean McVay has a personality, and
That's it.
Kyle
That's the word I was looking for, a
and Kyle
personality.
doesn't. It's like Kyle's personality was stolen at birth.
Yes.
In
Yes.
in the delivery room, someone came in and stole his personality,
Yeah.
and they've been looking for it ever since.
Yeah. Harbaugh, very high energy guy. Sean McVay, very high energy guy. Kyle Shanahan, barely awake.
Okay, I have a more interesting, topic. Since you're rating him behind, Sean McVay, make the case that Kyle is better than Sean McVay. I'm giving you an assignment right now.
Sure. As an offensive play designer, I think Kyle Shanahan is beyond Sean McVay. I think
I
Kyle
agree.
Shanahan and Mike McDaniel are both beyond Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay is smart and sensible and finds things that work and uses them a lot and doesn't get away from his best things. But there's not, I think, like, if you were to just look at the film and watch all like the design of his plays, it's less creative than what Kyle Shanahan is doing.
Okay. Aside from winning a Super Bowl, and I admit it's very hard to put that aside, what makes McVay better than Kyle?
I'd have to say that's the only one.
Well, I could add something else. Kyle took over and made a crummy team good. McVay came over, made not such a good team good. It got crummy again, and now he's making it good again.
I like that. I like that
Bill
one.
Walsh used to say to me about various coaches. I'm not going to name who they were. And he would say, imagine the coach is driving a a sports car, the greatest sports car in the world. He would say, ex-coach can drive it, but can he build it?
Hmm.
Bill always said, I can build it and drive it. There, I don't know that Kyle can build it and drive it. I think McVay can build it and drive it.
Well, he's showing that he can build it because he tore it apart and built it back up. Kyle Shanahan's holding on to this team. It's the oldest team in football.
Right, and the spark plugs are beginning to go, and
Mhm.
and the rings, and he's holding on. Where Bill would say, Kyle needs to rebuild the car right now.
Mhm.
He can drive the car. Can he rebuild it? I would have rebuilt it. And Kyle is saying, I want to hold on to this car. I made the payments and I want to hold on.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the Rams roster real quick. How many players are in their 30s? Let's see. Matthew Stafford, Rob Havenstein, Jimmy Garoppolo, Darius Williams, Cooper Kupp, and Tyler Higbee. So 6 guys. The Niners have like 15. At a certain, I don't think Bill Walsh would want all those old players on his team. Maybe a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So it's very interesting between Kyle and McVay. Iggy, I think I might put Kyle ahead of McVay. I just I don't take McVay seriously as a person because he's such a BS artist.
Yeah.
But having said that, I do know every flaw that Kyle has, and he has not won a Super Bowl in 2 tries here and in a half a try in Atlanta because there was a head coach, Quinn, but it was Kyle. It was Kyle who blew it, but Quinn could have said, "I don't like the game you're calling," and he never did.
Well, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what Sean McVay does that now that Aaron Donald has retired. Just like it's going to be interesting to see what Kyle Shanahan does when Trent Williams retires. We'll see. You're going to have to completely rebuild your team. Can you do it?
He's getting close to the point where he has to completely rebuild his team.
Yeah.
Can he build the car? He hasn't
Yeah.
proven it to me. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you got a crummy team and he built it then. Yes, he did. Can he do it again? Because he's getting close to the point where he needs to do it again. And he's holding on to people. He holds on to the fullback, for sentimental reasons?
Yeah.
I mean, get rid of him and get another offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Iggy, I don't know nothing about Juszczyk. I mean, he may be the loveliest man in the world. And again, I don't give a crap. But do you think he adds that much to the team?
Well, I mean, only he can go in motion like he goes in motion, Dad. Because it really messes people up. They're thinking, oh my God, Juszczyk's going to get the ball, and then he never does. People were really thinking Juszczyk was going to get the ball on that play, but then it doesn't happen.